our final sayonara to Japan. We hope you've enjoyed this wonderfully warm and exciting country as much as we have. Next stop, the United States of America. Have fun. We're heading home.
Hello?
Hello?
I guess I came to my senses. First of all, I want to apologize. I love your son. I came to tell him that. I want to marry him.
You're too late. He's gone.
Well, if it's all right, I'll stay.
But he's not coming back. At the last minute, he rushed back to the ship. To the woman he loves.
Oh. Oh.
You know something, Gladys? Losing that money may have been the most important thing that ever happened to me. It made me realize something.
What's that?
That I have everything I ever needed. Right here.
Oh, Bonnie. Bonnie, what would you say if I told you that we still have our $5 million and that telegram was a fake and that I sent it?
You sent it?
It was the only way I could get back the old Bonnie that I love.
You sent it?
Oh.
You.
I'm sorry, Bonnie.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
You. Oh, you're the best wife a guy ever had.
Celia, why aren't you back in Japan digging up your fortune?
Oh, there wasn't any fortune to dig up.
Didn't you get the silk translated?
Yes, we got it translated.
Well?
It said, to find the greatest treasure on earth, seek love, the bridge that joins the shores of distant hearts.
Well, after all that, it turns out to be worthless.
No, priceless. It brought me back to you.
It was our pleasure. And, Barney, this is for you.
Oh?
Who took up a collection?
Yeah, it's not much. It's just a little something to help you pay for part of the cruise.
Oh, thanks, guys. But it was all a big misunderstanding. We really did win $5 million.
Hey, fantastic. That's really great.
Sayonara.
Barney, the envelope, please.
Oh. Forgot that.
Celia, I couldn't be happier.
I know what you mean. Just like those pieces of silk, we've all joined together to become a family.
Johnny, Ben, you two really look happy. I guess your antique silks must have paid off.
They really did, Julie.
Well, what are you going to do with your treasure?
Spend the rest of my life with her.
Oh. Bye, Julie.
All right.
Bud, what are you doing here?
I flew over to bring you a wedding present.
Real nice, Dad, but I'm afraid there's not going to be any wedding.
There may be. We'll see the present.
Lila.
Sir? Sir?
Yes?
Phone call for you.
Oh, excuse me, Mark.
You don't have to tell Meryl that you knew I was Miyoshi all along.
Though I'm afraid I do. I've never lied to him.
When are you going to tell him?
At the appropriate time. On our next trip to Japan.
Well, it was a lovely cruise, Martha.
With me or Miyoshi?
Both. You're both fascinating women.
Believe me, Meryl, it takes 2 women to keep up with you.
Is this any way to run a ship?
Rehearsed with, but opportunities for romance were easy to find for members of the Love Boat cast.
This was, I'm trying to put this delicately, it was a lecher's dream. It was seemed to be a harmonious blending of art.
Fact and fiction disappeared. A few fans couldn't tell the difference between Bernie Capel and the womanizing doctor that he played.
I just thought I was dreaming when these things were happening, but that was the character, that was the way it was written, and that's the way it was played. Some ladies actually believed I was this guy. There was a woman who came up on one of the ships, very attractive woman, low-cut outfit, and she came up to the table, and my wife was sitting there, we're all sitting there, and she said, "I'd just like you to know," she'd had a little wine, "I'd just like you to know that I fantasize about you." And she went on with it. She went on with it, and she mentioned what she did, and I was saying, "Oh, please, this is not going to sit very well." But it happened. It really happened.
While some of the cast members enjoyed their celebrity, others found fame overwhelming.
I dealt with it very badly. I dealt with it very badly. It actually makes me really sad to talk about this right now because I feel sorry for that girl that I was. I know that I was always asking for somebody to give me the rule book, and I'll read it and I'll do it. I was very unhappy. The production team was always trying to tweak me in a certain way, you know, change my body, change my appearance in ways to be more marketable, I guess. And I didn't have that self-confidence or that self-knowledge to be able to say, hey, this is what I am, you gotta just take this or not. I didn't know how to do that. So I felt very much adrift.
In 1982,
out into the street and go, "Mr. Gopher is here!" And the room got dark because people crowded into the window to see these people from Love Boat. And I thought to myself, I'm liking this, but I'm also a little scared.
They had to take us through the back door to get into the van to go back to the ship, and they nearly knocked the van over. Vicky, Vicky, Love Boat, Love Boat.
the actors survived being swarmed by the Turkish fans. But a more frightening and potentially deadly event took place on that same trip following a cast party.
I was doing something that I normally did about 5 o'clock, which is to get deeply drunk. Lauren Tweez and Ted Lange and I, and her husband at the time, took a bunch of party balloons and climbed into this taxi cab.
There was a bunch of balloons that somebody had handed me just before we got in the cab, and so we were having fun. We all stuffed those into the cab.
And I was smoking at the time, and as we got into the cab and shut the door, one of my party balloons brushed against this cigarette and popped.
The balloons exploded because they were full of hydrogen and not helium.
Flames shot in the air above this cab. People thought we'd been attacked by terrorists. Had the windows been shut, we wouldn't have been killed.
The fire shot out like 8 feet up. It went around in a circle in the cab and shot out the sides of the cab. We got out and just all hell broke loose. And I remember crawling on my hands and knees to a sprinkler that was kind of spitting on the ground and sticking my hands in it because it was cold water. And somebody ran up to us, a Turkish man ran up to us and said, "Booze, booze, you need booze, booze." And we said, "No, ice, ice." He said, "Yes, booze, booze." apparently booze is the word for ice. We're like, no, we don't need drinks. We need ice. And we ran in and stuck our hands into the ice bins in a bar. My hands were burnt. My ex-husband's face was burnt. Fred's hands and face were burnt.
I was profoundly burnt on my hand and face. I mean, I had third-degree burns. I wound up going to rehab for a year, had to wear special gloves.
During his long, painful recovery, Grandy began to think hard about his future.
He said, as long as I've lived through this with the burns and come close to a death experience, he says, I think I want to do larger things with the time remaining in my life.
It was very much a part and parcel of why I decided to change my life. It did make me really think about whether I wanted to serve something larger than myself. After the incident in Turkey, there was a feeling that just getting another show and moving up the kind of ceremonial pecking order from second banana to top banana was not going to be enough to sustain me.
After 6 seasons and a terrifying accident, Fred Grandy began thinking about life beyond the Love Boat. But before Gopher could make his exit, another cast member was sent packing.
An Avian ship to go into People's Republic of China. Don't dare say Red China. We were warned about that.
Heavy security. We were watched constantly. But nonetheless, there was this feeling that people to people, there was a real fusion taking place.
Despite the heavy security, the Chinese were fascinated with the Love Boat cast.
We had Linda Evans, Susan Anton, and Ursula Anders. 3 gigantic, gorgeous blonde women. Well, the Chinese had never seen anything like that. There were 10,000 people showed up to watch us shoot.
It was smooth sailing throughout the production in China. But Lauren Tweez was in personal turmoil. During her years on the Love Boat, Tweez fought and won a struggle with cocaine addiction. While shooting the China cruise, Tweez's problems with the drug came to a head. She feared her job was in jeopardy.
I didn't even know what I was feeling. I just knew something weird was going on. And, oh, I didn't like that trip. Everybody was very weird to me that whole time we were there.
Tweez's private battle erupted into a public spat with the show's producer, Douglas Kramer.
She was going through, I believe, a rather difficult time and place in her life, and just got harder and harder to work with. And it reached the point, really it climaxed in that moment in China, where I felt I had nicely reprimanded her about some things she hadn't done, and she felt I was being insufferable.
He called me some pretty bad names, and then I received an apology from him, a written apology which I accepted.
In late 1983, Tweez's contract expired. Producers offered her less money to return for an 8th season.
I knew that I had not been absolutely professional. I knew that I had had a serious drug problem, and I knew that it was over, and I was willing to accept my punishment, and so I said yes, I would take less money.
But Doug Kramer had his mind made up. He sent the cruise director packing.
Just before New Year's, I got a call that, no, they decided to just withdraw the offer anyway.
The cast kind of split into those that were really close to Lauren, those that were supportive of her problems, and those that felt she was so essential to the show. We were really risking the situation to change it.
I personally had problems with myself in my early 20s. Who doesn't go through big problems? We all go through this. We go through these critical periods where part of it has to do with self-sabotage, just the difficulty of dealing with success.
She was a fine actress, but prone to that syndrome that gives you too much too soon, too bad. And so I think that kind of distanced us from her.
This balance of don't be successful, don't be a failure, don't, and all of these restrictions come in. So I can certainly empathize with what she was going through, but who doesn't go through it?
I really felt that for the show's health and welfare, we needed to get on, that a new cruise director could be brought in, and we wouldn't miss her
It was almost like an epidemic that ran through the spelling heroines, you know, vault themselves to a position that they couldn't sustain and then come tumbling down.
I must tell you that was
Our $5 million. And that telegram was a fake. And that I sent it.
You sent it?
It was the only way I could get back the old Barney that I love.
You sent it?
Oh.
You.
I'm sorry, Barney.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
You. Oh, you're the best wife a guy ever had.
Harvey?
Celia, why aren't you back in Japan digging up your fortune?
Oh, there wasn't any fortune to dig up.
Didn't you get the silk translated?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're saying our final sayonara to Japan. We hope you've enjoyed this wonderfully warm and exciting country as much as we have. Next stop, the United States of America. Have fun. We're heading home.
Hello?
Hello?
I guess I came to my senses. First of all, I want to apologize. I love your son. I came to tell him that. I want to marry him.
You're too late. He's gone.
Well, if it's all right, I'll stay.
But he's not coming back. At the last minute, he rushed back to the ship. To the woman he loves.
Oh. Oh.
You know something, Gladys? Losing that money may have been the most important thing that ever happened to me, and it made me realize something.
What's that?
That I have everything I ever needed. Right here.
Oh, Barney. Barney, what would you say if I told you that we still have...
Barney, this is for you.
Oh?
Who took up a collection?
Yeah, it's not much. It's just a little something that helped you pay for part of the cruise.
Oh, thanks, guys. But it was all a big misunderstanding. We really did win $5 million.
Hey, fantastic. That's really great.
Sayonara.
Barney, the envelope, please.
Oh. That's it.
Celia, I couldn't be happier.
I know what you mean. Just like those pieces of silk, we've all joined together to become a family.
Johnny, Ben, you two really look happy. I guess your antique silks must have paid off.
They really did, Julie.
Well, what are you going to do with your treasure?
Spend the rest of my life with her.
Oh. Bye, Julie.
All right.
Yes, we got it translated.
Well?
It said, to find the greatest treasure on earth, seek love, the bridge that joins the shores of distant hops.
Well, after all that, it turns out to be worthless.
No, priceless. It brought me back to you.
Well, so long, fellas, and thanks for everything.
It was our pleasure. And,